Hello everybody, this is Paige from Mosaic Moments, and today my video is titled It's All in the Details because today I'm showing you lots of page examples of all these detail photos. Now, if you don't know what we mean by detail photos, it pretty much means photos like what you see on here of these flowers, and there's this plant here and this snow, all these things that you take close up or just of that detail. So it'd be photos with no other subject, like no people or animals or anything like that. So we call them detail photos. And today I'm hoping to inspire all of you to, first of all, take these kind of photos because they make amazing scrapbook pages. Also, I'm hoping if you already are taking these photos that these will give you some ideas on how to add them to your scrapbook pages. I wanted to start off with this one because it has a variety of photos going on here. So, of course, I have these, it looks like tulips from the springtime and then a summer flower. Here I just have, I think it was just this bush or tree from the fall and then snow. Now, I probably wouldn't take a picture of just straight snow because it's hard, it would just make your photo look white. The thing to do with snow is to take a photo of it on a tree or some other kind of plant to get that texture in your photos. And sometimes, like this photo, you can get something that looks icy. That would look really cool too. So this is just to get you started. Flowers and plants are very common, and I'm going to show you more with those. So right here I have the horizon die, and on the outside is photos. So a lot of people mistaken these photos we have on our pages as pattern paper, which sometimes is the case. For example, there's a lot of pattern paper with wood textures, and we definitely use the pattern paper, but you could use photos as well. But these were photos, they were taken at the Bellagio. So if you've never been there, they have this place in the hotel that this kind of indoor garden they decorate for the different seasons. And these were all photos taken there, including these flowers on the outside. And since it was an ocean theme, of course, they have this kind of area with these blue flowers, and I wanted to add it on the layout. And I think it adds some great texture. So this layout is a baby layout, and the flowers may not necessarily have anything to do with the subject or the date, but this could have been a tree taken at the area where these photos were, and it was springtime. It's a very nice layout to remember the springtime, and I love how the flowers add a softness to the layout. It is a layout about a baby girl, and I really think the flowers are what make this layout. There's other things too. The photos are great. This puff and stuff die is also great. The flowers, again, add that softness and remind us of springtime, and babies totally fit springtime. It's a great page. I'm going to show some with plant photos. So it doesn't have to have flowers to make a great element for your layout. So this is Jody's pond. She has a pond right at her house, and she took photos of the lilies in her pond and put it in these on the dot dies. And it looks so good. I love this, and I love how you see the water, and you even see a little bit of the lily flower right there. This is a great layout. I love how it circles, and she even has photos of the rocks around her pond too. So there's two different textures going on here. It's awesome, and it helps you feel like you're there, right? Like you can remember these little details about your pond because over time, these lilies are going to change, or maybe you decide at some point you don't want the pond anymore, and it just makes you feel like you're right there. This is why these detail photos, they really help tell the story. This is a fun one, and I want to show you guys things that maybe you don't notice just looking at the pages from online. So this layout shows our Corolla dies, and if you've never been to Pandora, it's in Disney World, and I have some photos of the land, but on the outer parts, it's still plants, but they were taken at nighttime. And I added these to contrast with the daytime photos. So this is something you can do if, so in this case, I could not find a pattern paper. I was just not satisfied with any pattern paper. And that's why these photos can also be handy because sometimes you don't have a pattern paper around, right? And I just love this idea, and I love that it helps the page not feel too busy. It wasn't like another busy flower photo. That was that nighttime makes it more in the background and doesn't make it too overwhelming. So this is another idea. If you go to a garden or an event where sometimes like a lantern festival, you can see, the garden in the day and then go back and everything's lit up at night. So this is kind of a fun idea for something like that. All right, here's another one. This is also Pandora, although this was a different trip. I just wanted to show the loop. Yeah, I believe these are called the 2x2 loop dies. And these dies are perfect if you have this set. This is perfect for using these detail photos with. And of course, as usual, you can fill these in with pattern paper, but I love how the photos are around here. And again, it shows all those details from this Pandora area, which is very lush with all sorts of plants. And the plants, most of them are real, but they do have these plants that the Disney World created themselves. So these photos really, they make me feel like I'm at that place again, and it helps me remember those little details I saw around the parks or wherever I was. All right, this is another plant one basically, but you can also take photos of trees. So all of these are photos of trees taken in a distance. So if you're up in the mountains, and you can certainly take trees close up, but another idea is to take them from far away and then put them in with your die cuts. So this is the half circle die. Not to be mistaken with, we have a 3x6 half circle die that is very large. This is our 2x2 half circle die, and it makes this cool looking pattern. And I really love the way it's filled in with these photos of the trees and the mountains in Colorado. It looks beautiful. Definitely try this out. Definitely get these photos out and use them on your layout because they'll look great. Now I'm getting into my beach photos, which is another common and really easy one to take photos at. So of course, if you have shells, you got to take pictures of shells. And this was not the ocean kind of beach. This was a beach at a river. So Jody added some plants here too that look really good. I mean, these plants, nobody usually takes photos of this, but it looks so good on a Mosaic Moments layout. And there's these fossils and shells at these beach too. Well, actually, I think they're all fossils from a long time ago. So, and she's holding one. Look how big that is. So this looks so good. I love this layout. It's so calming and nice, and I love looking at the little details of these fossilized shells. It looks amazing. And here's another one I think you'll love. This is, let's see, this is L corner right here. And it's one of our corner cutout dies. And I love how Jody has a picture of the shells on the beach in this area. And I just want to talk about this too. I really love this idea of having the two L corners and then you have your subject in the center. And clouds, I don't have one specifically for clouds, but clouds is a really cool subject to add to a Mosaic Moments layout as well. But I just love this. Very nice layout. Easy way, if you have a shape like this, you may not have a lot of photos that would fill this space, but using these detail photos is the key right here. And again, helps you remember what was there. It helps you, sometimes we take pictures of shells and you're not necessarily going to take them home with you. So this is a great way to remember what you saw on the beach. Here's another one. This was in California, and there was really a pile of shells and like there's like all kinds of things. It's not even just shells, but there's all kinds of stuff in here. You can see these purple colors and reddish colors. There was so much color in this pile of stuff the ocean brought in, and it made an awesome texture for this layout. The beach is a great place no matter which coast you're on. So these dies are X Factor, and as you can see, they have a lot of these smaller spaces and very awkward kind of spaces to fill in other types of photos. So the detail photos like these shells were a great way to fill in those spaces. Next up is rocks. So this was taken out of place in Ruby Beach in Washington, and these are the Serendipity dies. And I just love these photos. Look at those rocks. They look so smooth. And again, it reminds you of being at that beach. A lot of people don't take these kind of photos, or if they do, they don't ever use them. And I like how on a Mosaic Moments layout, there is a place for them. And they just take up these small spaces in the serendipity die, but they make such an impression when they're filled in like this. So with rocks, sometimes you can find a really cool one and get these textures. This was a huge rock and I just took a close-up picture. I have a picture of the rock, from further away somewhere else, so I recommend getting further away, but I also recommend if you see some cool stuff like this on the rocks or a wall or wherever you are, to take a close-up picture of it. And again, it will seem like something you're never going to use, but you just never know, especially with the layout. This is the corner strip dies, and as you see, I have this pattern paper here. And then I have a strip with that detail of the rock, and it helps tell the story. It really helps tell where I'm at. It's a beautiful rocky area, and those textures are just so neat. I love taking pictures of rocks with these textures because they kind of get overlooked, and then later I'm like, wow, that looks so pretty. I love it. All right, now I have a couple of winter layouts. So again, with snow, like if I look here, that itself would not really be a great picture for the most part because it's just going to look white with some gray. So again, the key is to take photos of the trees or other plants that are covered in snow and take a picture of those. And they make excellent fillers. This is the crisscross die collection. And as you can see, I have the pictures of some snow-covered trees here. I think it looks amazing. And I love the texture it adds to the layout. And this is the same thing here. These trees, so those other trees look like they had some leaves and needles on them still. So these are trees without any leaves on them. And they look amazing. I just love this. It makes it look like my dog is surrounded by all these trees. This is the On the Dot die collection. And again, you may look in your backyard and think those trees just look boring, they're not interesting, but you add them to a layout in this simple little shape and it looks amazing. So winter, we don't always get snow, but when you do, definitely get these photos. All right, next I'm going to show you some ideas from when you're at a place like a U-Pick farm. It's a great opportunity to get these photos, and here they're clearly picking strawberries and blueberries, and I just love these photos. You just want to eat these strawberries and blueberries. You wish you can pick them off this layout. And it really, again, helps tell the story. And you can see in the picture here, that's what they're holding. But I love the close-ups. First of all, it makes the page so pretty. Those reds and blues in the photos really stand out. I love that pop of color. It adds to the page. And again, helps tell you what exactly they're picking here at this farm. This one's a lavender farm. This is the dynamic dyes, and Jody took pictures of these lavender flowers or the lavender plants. And the dynamic has these little tiny spaces. So again, the detail photos are great for those tiny spaces. You can use a pattern paper, but I really love how they went to this lavender farm, and I can't say there's a whole lot of pattern paper out there with lavender on it. I mean, I haven't seen a lot, so I love that she's able to add these photos in. It's a small thing, but it really makes a huge difference, and again, helps tell the story of where they were. Because in these photos, the lavender don't really make much of an impression. You may not even notice they're at a lavender farm. But with these photos, you can be like, oh my gosh, that's lavender and it's so pretty. It adds a great detail. I just want to show this one real quick, how fun this can be. This is our little mini pie die. And I love how Jody has different pumpkins in here. So we don't live too far from a place that's like an actual pumpkin patch. You go and cut out the pumpkins yourself, and they have a lot of variety. And I love how she has this little pie of different pumpkins. So again, it may not seem like photos you'll ever use, but those are all really fun. I love it. And she even has a leaf in there. And this is a little flower from the pumpkins, the pumpkin plant. And it looks so good. This is why the details are fun. You can fill in these little spaces because this die is so tiny. You basically never get a person in them, but these little pumpkin photos in there are really adorable. All right, my next batch of layouts show ideas with art. So generally you're going to find this kind of art if you go visit a city or go to an art event or an art museum. At first look, it may be hard to tell what's going on here, but basically this was a tree sculpture. So it's a tree and it has spoons and I believe forks, and the forks are holding onto these cherries. So a very unique art piece. You can kind of tell from the layout that they went and saw different types of art around the city, and this is just an up close of one of the sculptures. So that's just one idea. It looks really neat. It adds a really great texture to the overall layout. So if you were there, you can remember, oh yeah, there's that funny tree, and it looks amazing on your layout. All right, an easy one is taking photos of a mosaic. This is a mosaic up on a wall at the Philadelphia Zoo. As you can see, this is from 2007. So these photos were taken quite a while ago, but you know, so many people put so much work into things like mosaics and murals, and why not highlight it on a scrapbook page? And again, it helps tell the story. There's little animals in this, and it's perfect for a zoo layout. And we can remember the art we saw during our trips. So I love this. This is the chic dies. It has great little spots to add in those little details from any artwork you see. All right, we just saw a layout very similar to this one, but again, this is the L corner. And this was some art this was actually a small town with an area with an art walk. And so here's a close up. This is a really fun texture if you can get photos like this. And of course, these areas show some of the art as well. So art is a great subject for using with your dies because they add great texture, and instead of a pattern paper, it makes a fun look. And again, you can remember what art you saw on this trip. I think it's fantastic. So this is the Ernest die, and as you can see, there's these ocean animal sculptures. So we went to a garden that had an exhibit of sculptures made with trash. So they take this trash out of the ocean, then they turn it into sculptures. So we have some photos of the sculptures, and we got really close up. It's nice, obviously, to have the photos from far away so we know, okay, we saw a fish, we saw this shark, but having these close-up photos really gives this cohesive feel to the layout. Again, it might be hard to find a pattern paper to go with this kind of layout. So I love having these little detail photos to, again, help tell the story of what's going on in the layout. And it's just fun. I just love it. It's fantastic. All right, now I'm getting into walls. And yes, people sometimes give you funny looks if you want to take a close-up picture of a wall, but they make great pages. So this is at a climbing wall. It's actually a 2-page spread. And I love how Jody filled in. This is on the dot dies again with all these different parts of the climbing wall. And you get to see all the little details, like where people had the chalk on, there's all this like chalk on there, and you can see where people touched the wall, and then you can see all these fun, colorful rocks. And then here she used it to fill in the little dots. So this is a really fun one. I really enjoy that. So perfect for, of course, a rock climbing adventure. So if you're on an adventure, make sure to get some close-ups of some of the things around you. Now, if you've been to Graceland, you have to take pictures of the Graceland wall. So this is my sister. This is the Clover dies. And of course, that wall made an awesome texture in that wall. It's a brick wall, and then people have written all kinds of things on it. So this is a really fun place to take pictures, I'll say that. And I love how here we have it filled in. The Clover dies have these really small, very intricate spaces. Again, it would be really difficult to fit a photo of a person or something like that. So these detail photos help fill in those spaces so much. It's great. Brick walls. Never underestimate a brick wall. May seem like nothing, but they make awesome pages. I don't know if this is brick exactly, but stone. I guess I have brick here. So this is just a stone wall. And this is the home run dies. And it's really nice to have this stone wall. And then some of the garden pictures here to add some contrast. And it makes the page feel less busy. But again, instead of pattern paper, we used pictures of a stone wall that's at the garden. So it actually makes you feel like you're at the garden, right? You have these walls surrounding you in the garden. It's pretty cool. And here's the brick. This is taken at Fort Macon. I want to say this is in South Carolina. I have personally never been there, but I'm pretty sure that's where it is. And oh gosh, I love taking photos of walls at historic sites because they have this old brick or these old walls that are now have all these amazing textures, and they really make amazing scrapbook pages. I just love it. And it's one of those things people think you're kind of a weirdo when you go take a picture of, but look at this. This is amazing. Amazing texture. And you could find some pattern paper with a brick, but this is like, hey, this is actually what I saw in front of me when I went there. This is the walls right at that fort or right at that historic site that I saw. And again, it helps bring back the memories and it helps you remember that you were there. I forgot to mention these were the angles dies, so also a great one for these sections to be filled in with some photos. All right, now I'm showing you some Christmas ideas. Christmas is a great time of the year to get these detailed photos. So right here, we were at SeaWorld. This is the chic dies, and there's photos of ornaments. There was this amazing Christmas tree, and then I don't even know what to call these, but you can kind of see a picture of this tree. And then Tammy took a close-up of it. So anytime you see a tree, just especially if it's one that catches your eye, you want a picture of the whole tree and have your family standing in front of, but then you want to get up close because look at this. This looks great. And I love these ornaments. Again, so cute. It's so cute. And there are so many cute things that, again, we're not usually going to put that as the main photo on our scrapbook page, but you put it in as a little detail like this, and it's like, it's still in your scrapbook forever to have those cute things. And something I want to point out with the chic die here, there's all sorts of designs you can do, but I really like how on this one, Tammy focused on this circle, so you can see these corners have just some cardstock, and then all the photos were placed in this circular section. So if you have the chic die, this is just an idea to emphasize that circle area. Again, this is just so cute. I'm so glad we have the photos and we're able to put it on a layout. So that's another reason. Cute things can make it in your page if you take the photos and add it in this way. All right, here's another one. At Colonial Williamsburg, they have wreaths every Christmas, and we love to take them close up. They make great mosaics, or if I was going to use another type of die, they obviously can make great fillers. But again, there's a lot of people who take a lot of time to make these wreaths and all these decorations, and it's really nice to be able to have a way to remember that and really show that you enjoyed what the artist made or the crafter made. So I just love this. Again, adds texture. I just love this. I just love doing the details. And I'm going to tell you guys, for this video, I had to significantly cut back. I may have to do a part 2 or even a part 3 because this is hardly anything. I want to show you guys more detailed photos. So let me know if you want to see more pages with these detail ideas. All right, I'm getting to my last bunch. I'm just calling this the travel bunch because a lot of these pages are during travels, but these are ones that you might particularly want for your travel layout. So this is the dynamic die set, and a lot of people look at this and assume it's a pattern paper, and it's not. It's actually, I don't have a photo on it on this page, but this is taken at Universal. There's this thing, it looks like a big cabinet. I think they store stuff in there for some of their shows, and the texture was so great. And so we have a picture of just that texture, and then I used it on this layout, and it looks amazing. Again, it's something to remember from the trip. And just one tip I'll share is you can print the same photo multiple times. So I think this was one photo that I just printed multiple times. So if you feel like I don't have enough photos, I would say print more than one. If you have an at-home printer, you can certainly do that. If you print your photos from a place outside of your home, photos like this, you may want to make sure you have like 4 copies of that same photograph to be able to fill up spaces like this. All right, another travel idea is taking photos of a map. You could put a literal map in your scrapbook as well, but sometimes it's easier to take a photo. So this is showing a treasure map. If you ever go to Adventureland at Disney World, I don't think Disneyland has this, but Disney World has this place where you do a treasure hunt and they have these little maps and you go around Adventureland and search for things. I don't want to spoil it too much. You can see how colorful this map is, and it's of Adventureland, so it's like a souvenir at the same time. It's really cool to put in this like souvenir into the scrapbook page, and it looks amazing. This is one of my favorite pages of all time. I again just love the colors. I just love the memory. It helps me remember this activity we did. It was fun. All right, this is my last layout. So I just wanted to show you guys if you ever go downtown to a city. So these photos were taken in Chicago and they went up Willis Tower. You can see right there. That's Willis Tower. And there's a room where you can take pictures and you can get amazing textures with these city photos looking down, or maybe you're looking up. But I think if you're in a city, maybe it's worth it to go up on one of these towers and take these photos because, again, they make great mosaic pages. And here you may notice I have a couple of them that are black and white. That was because I wanted the contrast. So these two are in color, and I just felt like if I had this one in color, it kind of would blend in too much. So to create a separation, I made some of these black and white instead. So that's a pretty easy thing you can do if you have a photo program. You can just tell it to make your photos black and white. We don't add a lot of black and white photos to our pages, but on occasion it actually can look very nice. And like here, I did it intentionally because I thought it would look too busy otherwise. So this is a fun one. If you go to the city, or if you have if you have photos from past trips to the cities, a lot of times you go on top of a tower and take photos and don't necessarily use them later. So this is a die from the T-Square die set. It's a great die if you want to add more of these detail shots. And again, a lot of these photos, they just sit in storage, but I love how it helps tell the story. Like you're up in this tower and you're looking down at all these amazing buildings. And you have a place in your scrapbook to remember that. I think this beats having something like a pattern paper. But we love our pattern paper too. But the photos, that is what helps us remember the best. And it helps you feel like you're right there. I can't speak about it enough. I definitely think if you're not already to try to implement these type of photos in your scrapbook layouts, and you'll love it. And I think you'll love your pages even more because you're gonna be like, yeah, I remember seeing that, and it makes me feel like I'm there again. Anyway, this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. And again, let me know if you want to see more videos with this type of idea where I show you more ideas with different detail shots, or let me know which one was your favorite. I'll see you next time.